Hello, Ilari. Welcome. Good to have you with us today.
Hello, KJ.
Hello. Ilari, I invited you to be our guest in the SPM interview series with experts when we touch upon various aspects that are related to strategic portfolio management. You've been working for quite some time and around topics like technology, digitalization, and innovation, R&D management. Currently, you're also active as a business angel and entrepreneur and investor. So it will be great to get your insights. So I guess I'll start with a short round of introductions. So again, for many years, you've been driving digital strategies for big organizations like Wärtsilä and Konecranes. So from your perspective, can you summarize what factors play a critical role in a successful digital transformation?
Well, KJ, what I have learned during my years, both with large corporations and also with startups, that there are a few pitfalls that company typically need to avoid in order to be successful. And these pitfalls and these things to avoid, they are pretty much the same independently if you are a big company or small company. But there are a couple of things that I think it's good to remember. First of all, I think many times companies, they start their development from the wrong end of things. So they start from the technology, or they might start from IT, but they are not starting from the customer. And it sounds easy, but many times companies are falling into this problem, and that leads to very long projects, or they are building background systems, data lake projects, or process harmonizations, or IT integrations, or rollouts, or IoT projects if you have products. But it all means that they all require very heavy investments. They are tying a lot of your resources, but you don't see any business results in a long time. And that this is something you should avoid. So my advice number one is that always start from the customer problem and then work your way back to the solution and technology and IT from the customer. And what engineers typically, they love to solve things, but you should learn to love the problem over the solution, because until you know that you really have the right problem at your hand, you shouldn't start to work on the solution, because it's very clear that if you have a wrong problem, you will definitely have a wrong solution as well. So start from the problem and then work your way to the solution. And that should reflect also into your development portfolio. So everything that you have in your portfolio, in your pipeline, should be things that you really know that there is a real customer problem behind, and there is a customer who is willing to pay for that solution. So that's my advice number one. My second advice is that it's more to the resource utilization. Do not centralize all your resources. There might be certain new resources or new capabilities that you need to build, and those are good to start as a central, but basically everything should be as close to business as possible. But the things that you should centralize is, of course, your portfolio management. So to be able to build a good visibility into your portfolio and to understand that you are really executing your company strategy, and to understand that your investments are on the right level, you need to have a good overview and visibility on your portfolio. So that is a thing that you should centralize and build a capability to have an overview throughout the company, but not necessarily all the resources. So that's my second advice.
Yes, great advice, and thank you for that, Ilari. So clearly, loving the problem over the solution is number one, and then decentralization when it comes to those various smaller and bigger initiatives, but then centralizing it on a portfolio level. This brings me to my second question, which will be then related to optimal portfolio planning when it comes to various R&D and innovation portfolio strategies. How do you think, what are the main or biggest challenges in the optimal portfolio planning and resource allocation?
Well, I like that things are driven by the data and by the facts, and many times the portfolio management is still there are a lot of opinions and poor visibility on the things, and that if you are not managing and steering your portfolio with the data, you make bad decisions. You have a poor resource planning, and you end up having bad projects with a very poor business case. I think companies should look innovation portfolio not as a cost, but as an investment that must be able to yield returns. So, and if you don't know the expected outcome and the return of your portfolio, then you are only looking cost, and you are not optimizing your portfolio. And this is many times the case that companies don't know but how much their portfolio is contributing to their growth and when is that going to happen. They know the numbers, but numbers are mostly focused on the cost, not on the benefits or return. And I think the business leaders, they should always ask that how much net new revenue our portfolio is bringing, and when is that going to happen, and what's going to how much our portfolio is contributing to our profitability, and when is that going to happen. And if you look the company targets and the portfolio expected benefits, do we have a gap in our growth? Do we have a expected gap in our profitability? Should we invest more, or should we adjust our portfolio? And these are type of questions that unfortunately many companies don't have. They might know the cost and the budget of what they're going to spend, but they don't know how much it will return and when. So I think that's a very important topic, and it should be kind of a vision and objective that the portfolio management should be developed, that you have all the time better and better visibility on what is your portfolio going to return. And of course, if you don't have a good tools to do that, then and to manage your pipeline, you are basically relying on faith. And faith is good, but it's not the way to manage a company.
Absolutely. So especially these days when data play such a critical role. So what you said is the focusing on the benefit side much more than on the cost side is crucial, because then you actually know whether you're getting into the right direction, whether you're realizing all the benefits that you have assumed, and you know exactly what to do next, whether you should kind of terminate a project, put it on hold, or maybe invest even more because the business case has just expanded. So I think this is another piece of great insights from you, Ilari. Thank you for that. So my last question will be really about the advice you will have for R&D and innovation managers about how they can possibly best integrate their smaller R&D portfolios into a wider enterprise portfolios that include not only R&D and innovation initiatives, but also everything from CapEx investment to operational excellence projects.
Well, first thing that you must tie your portfolio to your strategy so that you are able to follow and also to communicate what are you doing and why are you doing it. Make the return on investments and these estimates visible on the quarterly basis. How much are we expecting new revenue? How much we are expecting a contribution to the profitability on coming quarters and years? So all the time estimate, follow, update your numbers all the time, and make this portfolio process as part of your business planning process. And make sure that you are not only able to communicate the cost, but also the return as well on your portfolio. And invest in your portfolio transparency and your planning capability. Faster you can adapt to any changes in business environment, more resilient your company is and more competitive you are. And I think the real game changer in the portfolio management is that when you can all the time optimize your portfolio and decide what you do given the constraints that you always have regarding money and people and time, but make that optimization kind of your key competence and core capability and tie it straight to your business planning process. Then you are maximizing the benefits that you can have. And of course, that is very difficult or always almost impossible to do with Excel or traditional tools. So investing into that will make you much more competitive.
Right. Thank you for that, Ilari. Optimal capital and resource allocation is one thing, but also what we keep repeating at Quistrb is that stress testing and the ability to adapt to changes in the marketplace is crucial. And also what you mentioned, something that we could call this post-investment monitoring, so that once you have started your project, then you should be able to realize the benefits pretty much at any time of the product or service lifecycle. So thank you for this great insights, Ilari. It was great chatting with you, and thank you for accepting the invitation. I hope we will be able to do a follow-up soon. Until that time, I wish you have a great day and stay safe.
My pleasure. Have a great day as well.
Have a good one. Cheers. Bye-bye.
Cheers.